Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I'm Danny, this is Retired Dream Life, and in this video, we're going to be servicing my Hardee 1072 Bush Hog. So let's get right into it. What a beautiful day. It's the next day after all that rain we were having yesterday. Got some high overcast clouds. That's the fence line right over there. And I'm over here getting the tractor, getting ready to hook up the Bush Hog to it. But before I can hook up the Bush Hog, there's a few things I want to fix on the Bush Hog. And if you're wondering about what's going on with that, I've ordered a new piece of glass. In another video, don't think it's out yet, about putting electrical power in while we were running the auger. The auger jumped up and we had the window slightly open so that we could communicate with the person inside the cab, and it blew out that window. So $800 and I got to pick it up. That's not even shipping. All right, so there's a few things I want to do with this Bush Hog. First of all, I want to check the transmission fluid, make sure there's actually fluid in there. A friend of mine named John over at Farmcraft 101, check out his channel. There's a link right there, and I'll put a link down in the description below. He was telling me that sometimes people will go and put grease in there, thinking that it's better. So I'm going to double check that. I'm pretty sure, because this is so new, that no one's done something like that. But that's one of the things I want to do. Another thing is this pin right here, it's loose. I want to tighten that up, and I need to straighten out those supports right there. And you can see both of them have been bent for some reason. The other thing I want to do is I want to get some new bolts for this. It won't happen today, but I need to get some new bolts that are actually the right size, because this has got too much slop in it. And then I'll use that bolt for back here. Right now I've got just a little temporary bolt inside there, and I'm going to move that temporary bolt down one, because right now it's sitting too low on the ground, and I want that wheel to go down to raise the deck up. I also just saw that this piece right here is broke free a little bit, so I might take a hammer to that right there. In order to do that and that, I'll probably hook it up to the tractor first. But let's get started with taking these supports off, and I'm going to put up some wooden blocks over there and use the front of the bucket to press down on it. In fact, I decided, since I'm going to be putting this onto the back of the tractor anyway, so just that bolt, I'm going to go ahead and just hook it up now. That way I don't have to keep walking back and forth for tools to the garage. But before I can do that, I've got to move this scraper out of the way. Well, that worked out better than I expected. I ended up moving it over here due to the fact that not only do I need to get access to this, once I do another project, I need to have access to this. So I didn't want to block one thing with another thing. So, because I was going to put it right here, but now I've got access to this. So let's hook up to that. Well, this is not going to be easy. Have my plastic all the way back. It's hard to line up. I'll try my best. Y'all tell me when to turn, when to stop. Is that good? Let's check it. Wow, I'm really far off. You should have said something. I need to go that way. Oh yeah, that looks pretty good. Just got to come back a little bit more and lower those down. Tell me when. Right there? Okay, I'll check it. Oh yeah, real close. In fact, oh, I'm sitting there going like, that ain't gonna reach there. That's right, there's a bar that goes here. I think we're good there. I'll be the first one to tell you, I am no Farmer John, although my family has been into farming for many years. And I've been around them some. That doesn't make me qualified to tell you guys anything about what I'm doing. I don't know the names of these type things. I think these are swing arms, not even sure. But this one has a nice feature where you can pull these pins and move them in and out so you can easily access the pins on here. There. Well, that worked. Yeah, this thing's crooked left and right as well. All right, now it's just the drive shaft needs to be hooked up. But I gotta straighten this stuff out. It's just so bent. As you can probably tell, the deck is leaning towards the right. And I know why. It's not just those bars. If you look at the two pins, I'll put arrows by them. If you look at the two pins, they're not even. So one arm right here is lower than that arm. And it has to do with this adjustment right here. When Neil and I were running the 3-point auger, we're screwing this in and out, and this one is all the way up right now. So I'm going to adjust that. As you can see, I'm getting more and more threads here, which means this is going down. The other thing I can do is check this stuff with a level. All right, so something I'm realizing is that that one arm on the right is lower than the one on the left. Which makes me wonder, did they pull that arm off and when they put it back on, not put it on the correct spline? Don't know. I mean, it can be compensated by adjusting the two things that lift it in and out, but that just seems off. Oh well, I'll extend this one out just to compensate for it so that the two pins here and here are equal, and that way the deck should be flat. Got it, so I might as well use it, right? Yeah, I'm not liking that. I don't want it jumping around on me like this. But for what I'm about to do, not a big deal. Yeah, I don't like that either. I'd like to have some flat washers on this. Yeah, there's a locking washer. That's the wrong thing to be on there. Hopefully I got a washer that fit this. It's just been double nutted. All right, let me see if I got a couple washers that'll fit this. All right, so full disclosure, I didn't have a washer that had big enough holes, so I just took a washer, made the hole larger. Had one for the other side, so I had a total of 1 washer, but I wanted just a little more protection for that face there. I need another one of these bolts. Sunday, the hardware store's closed. Hardware store's 45 minutes away. And I just need to mow a couple of strips. That's about perfect. And just very little side slot. Good. That's just what I wanted. So we got a flat washer on the far side, flat washer on this side. I need to do the exact same thing up here. May have to take that bolt off whenever I leave and get one that matches it exactly. Get a couple of washers while I'm there too. All right, well, while I've got it up in the air, let's take a look at the blades. Those of you who have never seen the underside of a brush hog, this is what they look like. This one is really kind of tore up. Oh, come on. I didn't spin the wheel of fortune fast enough. All right. And these things should swing. They shouldn't be stiff like that. Looks like that's gotten pressed in a bit. Anyways, I'll grind on it a little bit. Both appear to have gotten bent a bit. Yeah. All right, let me grind that up some and let me knock this other side, not this side, showing you what it should look like. Knock this out a little bit more. It really needs a weld right there. But yeah, let me grab the grinder as well. Yeah, I was just thinking that was going to happen. How do I lock this in so it doesn't turn? Got an idea. All right, so here's what I've done. I saw a little bar up that way. So I've stuck a 2x4 basically. Figured this will do 2 purposes. One, it'll stop that blade from moving, and if this thing was to try to come down on me, 2x4 would hopefully keep it from falling all the way. Now let's get to work. And just so you know, I'm not trying to get this super sharp. just trying to get it to where it's got a little better of a cutting edge on it. That's good enough. All right, well, they do still move, and that's the important thing, that they move. So these do still move. I was just able to move it. As you can see here, it moves, and that's what it's supposed to do, is allow it to articulate here due to the fact that if it hit a rock or something, these can swing back, or a large tree branch or something like that. It's not going to stop and then break the shear pin that's on there. I mean, it could, but normally not. Hey, Tiger, you coming to visit me? Kitty, kitty, kitty. Just watching and see what I'm doing. Making a whole bunch of noise. I'm surprised you coming over here. I think I'm going to sharpen this a little bit more. So Tiger's probably going to leave. What's the matter? Oh, probably didn't like the smell of my greasy gloves. All right, that's good enough. Remember, this thing's like an axe, and so it cuts a lot like an axe. All right, so here's the gearbox. I'm going to check the fluid in this. It was actually tighter than that. I'd already loosened it, because I wasn't sure if I was going to need a socket or something like that. So I should be able to fill the gear oil. Wow, I don't feel nothing. Good thing I'm checking it. It's another good thing that I got gear oil. Oh, wow. Is this thing empty? Yeah. Oh my goodness, I am so glad I checked this. This has no gear oil in it. Holy smokes. That's crazy. Or maybe that's the filler, and this right here is how much oil should be in there. Don't know. Gonna have to do some research on this. But let's open that low one and see if anything comes out. I don't know if it will. Maybe that's just the filler, and you're only supposed to have it to here. It's kind of surprising. I would think that you'd need it all the way through the whole thing. Like I said, I'm not a farmer. This first tractor I've ever owned. First time doing any maintenance or preventive maintenance or anything like that to any of these. I've got this deck mostly level. Okay. There's stuff coming out of there, but it looks a little milky, like water's gotten in there. I'm glad to see that there's something in there, but really shouldn't have water getting in there. See how that's kind of milky? Yeah, it shouldn't look like that. I'm going to get a pan since a lot of it's coming out. I wonder if there's a plug somewhere on the bottom to get all the stuff out. Don't see one on the front. Yeah, I'm going to have to do a little bit of research on this so I can see whether or not you're supposed to fill it to here. Could be this is the low drain. And I don't mind draining this stuff out. It shouldn't look like that. I noticed whenever I put my finger in there before and brought it back out, it had water on it. So I'd like to take a look and see what's down inside there. All right, so this will give me a chance to try out my brand new borescope. Thought I'd go in there and see what it looks like. I thought this one did recording, but unfortunately it doesn't. It just does photos. So let's take a look in there. All right, and I'll show you what it looks like as I go in. That looks good. Let's turn this left and right inside of there. Yeah, I can see those teeth down inside sludge. Alright, so I like to get all that out of there. So it's sitting in about this much of it. So I want to be able to get all that out of there. Well, after looking around, I don't see any way to drain this other than taking the entire front face off. I really don't want to do that. So what I think I'm going to have to do is suck it out. That's ridiculous. There should be a drain hole down here, but obviously there isn't. So what I ended up doing was getting an air blower and putting a seal around the end of it and putting that in there, and that helped blow a lot of this stuff out. I put the shield on there because it was splattering everywhere. But I got most all of it out. And as you can see, there's really not that much. There's a little bit underneath the pan. I'd say there's half a quart in there. Thankfully, I've got some fresh gear oil I'm going to put in there, and I'm going to start filling it with that hole open, just so anything else that's in there that's got water in it hopefully will float up and come on out. That way I can get some fresh gear oil in there and seal it up. The real question is, how did the water get in there? The only thing I can figure is it got through here somehow. This here is, it's got a hole in it, which allows pressure to come out. So it's a cap on here. You know, this hole goes all the way through. And then there's cap on here that's held on because it's been pressed there and there. And that allows it to vent. So maybe water got in that way. I don't think it was a seal. I don't know how this thing's been stored, but we're definitely going to get some fresh gear oil in there. I want to say a special shout out and thank you again to John for telling me to take a look at this and make sure that there wasn't grease in there. Although there wasn't grease in there, it's got proper gear oil more than likely in there. It did have water in there, and I think it was a little bit low. So I'm going to go check and see how much should go in there, and then we're going to add some fresh stuff. All right, I got everything all cleaned up now, and did some research and checking, and yes, this is the top of where the fluid level should be. Now there may be a drain hole underneath here, but remember there's a big plate that the blades go on, and this access point right here, as you can see, there's a nut in there. That's for removing the blades. But I did, there's a little room in there, so I was able to fill up underneath there. I can feel the heads of the bolts that hold on the transmission. And like I said, there may be a drain in there. I just don't feel like digging around or taking the whole thing off just to get to the drain. So I'm going to go ahead and put in some fresh stuff here. And later on, I may do some research and find out whether or not there is a drain there and drain all that out. But what was in there was still working, obviously. And by adding this oil, which is just a simple 80-90 weight multi-purpose gear lube, this thing will operate a lot better. So let me go ahead and start putting some of that in there. And for those of you who've never seen what 80-90 weight gear oil looks like, you'll see it as it's going in. And once I see that this is flowing fairly nice color, then I'll put the cap in it. This is what it's supposed to look like. Almost like honey. That's not quite the angle I like. There we go. Shouldn't look so milky. Oh no. They do make a pump for this to where you could pump it in. I used to have one, and that was many years ago. Those of you who have worked with this type of gear oil, differential oil, know what the smell is, and it is not a pleasant smell. At least I'm not a big fan of that smell. Well, this just isn't working. Let me see if I can find a better funnel. All right, that should work a little better. You know what? Let me go to making this flat again, or how do I say it? Making this level. Right now, the deck is downward angled because I wanted it to drain out. So now let me get it back to level. All right, now it's sitting more level. Maybe this will flow down in the funnel faster. It's because it's so thick. But I got an idea for that. That should slow it. Hey, it worked. It takes so long for this stuff to go down. Ah, there we go. Now we're starting to get some coming out. All right. Let the wind stop blowing. Put a little more in there. I know the rest of this is going to run out, but I'm going to try to get as much of that milky stuff out of there as I can. The smell. At least you guys can see what it's supposed to look like. Kind of like honey. Okay. Put a little bit more. There. All that should run out. And there it comes. It seems to be mostly clear. That's good. That's what I want. I don't want to see any of that milky stuff. All right, I'm going to call that good. That's now full. Any of you guys know why they'll do stuff like this with a square head on it versus, you know, like a nut head on it to where you can put a socket on there or something? If you know why, post it down in the comments below. So I've often wondered about this. Why some things have these squared shoulder bolts on them. Makes no sense to me, but what do I know? Let me clean this up and we'll get to work on the other items that need to be addressed. Now, why would I go and clean up all this oil when it helps prevent it from rusting? Again, those of you who know the smell of gear oil, that's why. Thankfully, this thing sits behind me. This would be interesting. I don't know if it's going to drop down or this thing's going to go forward, back, what? Nothing. Okay. Exactly what we want. Now let's do the other side. Now with this one, I'm definitely keeping my feet out from underneath it, just in case. This may be what's holding it up. Not too bad. All right, let's get the top one. Now this one doesn't have a washer on it. We're going to get that bend out. Does have a spacer in there. Those are a little bit chewed up, but to be expected, I guess. And this one's got to get that bend out of it.
too much. Darn it. That's pretty close though. That should be good. Oh yeah, that looks real good. Look at that. Nice. That's the way it should be. A little too much. Oh, just ever so. I don't think I can get this one any better. This one, it has like a little Z in it now, and I don't want to mess it up. Let me try one last thing. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it alone. That's a lot better than it was. I don't know. I think I can get this part. This part is still at an angle. Let me try a little bit more back here. I think I got it. Now it wants to go back just a little bit. As you can see, it's this side's now kind of kicked back. No change. I don't want to overdo it. No change. Okay, there we go. I like that. That's straight enough. A lot straighter than it was. Heck yeah, I'll take that. That is not bad at all. Definitely better than what it was. So, I may not have any red paint, but I don't like leaving metal exposed. So I'm gonna find something to paint this with, just so the steel's not exposed. Now do the same thing to the other side and paint them both. So the closest color I could find that I have on hand is this red right here. Let's see what it looks like. Hopefully it sprays. Okay. That's not too far off. At least it won't look like a leopard. Yeah, that's better than black. Maybe I need to shake it up a little better. Right now there's less pigment coming out than I would expect. That's a little better. Yeah, that's not too bad. It's still in the color of red. Oh man, why didn't you tell me I put my hand right in it? Jeez. Welcome to Comedy Hour. I'll just put a light coat on here for right now. Let it get really tacky. And I'll come back to it. I'm shocked I have any kind of a red on him. It's nice. All right, we're not even close. So I think I need to bring this down some. Not much change. Oh, so I need to make this go back that way. Now you will notice that it is slightly bent. And the reason for this is because the left plate, as you see, is straight. The right one kind of curved. I don't have any way of really straightening that. At least these main bars are no longer bent. I've also adjusted the two arms so that they're fairly level. With that, I think we're pretty well ready to go run it. Make sure I got everything connected, drive lines connected. I threw a little bit of grease on the fittings as well. I figured might as well. Fourth hole, that one doesn't matter. Connected, connected, pins, 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 pins. All right, so what I'm not liking is the way it's sitting right now. So the way it's sitting right now, the front is down, the back is up, which means I do need to be in that second hole. So let me put it back in the second hole. All the weight's down on it. I'm gonna have to crank it up, raise it up. I also greased this, so it's a lot of grease coming out of it. Just realized there's two holes in the bar. Let's set this back down. All right, that is flatter, but too flat now. All right, that's flat, but now it's too flat. I don't want to just be sliding along the ground like that. I got to bring it back down one more. All right, so I've stayed in the second hole here, but I've moved it up to the higher hole. There's two holes in here. Moved it to the higher hole. So let's see what that looks like. All right, we're getting really close. Just got to get the front up just a little bit. All right, I'm liking that. That's looking good. Tighten this down. Oh, on this side it looks like it's pretty well flat. Let me show you the other side. Remember that the tractor's leaning right now. So on this side, looks good. Got about 3 to 4 inches right there. About 2.5 inches there. So it looks good here. Like I said, the tractor's leaning. As long as I got some of a gap over here, I'm okay with it. Yeah, that looks fine. Let's see what it looks like as far as straight on the back. Yeah, this side could come up. This arm could come up just a little bit. I'll go ahead and adjust that. All right, so we get that adjusted. That's greased. We sharpened the blades a little bit. Got it all level. Got the arms level. Got those fairly straight. If only I could fix that top one. Got that all back on. Transmission. Found out that there was water and oil, gear oil, still in there. Drained out most of that. Got fresh gear oil in there. I'll have to check that after a little bit of use and see if it turns milky. Lubed up here, and like I said, made those adjustments there.
And now I think we are ready to go give her a shot. So we'll run the bush hog just a little bit up and down each side of the fence. All right, well, that's going to wrap it up for this video here. We've got a lot accomplished. Got the oil serviced in the gearbox. Got the blades sharpened a little bit. I've gotten some new hardware put on it, both there and up here. We got both of the bars straightened out. We got it leveled out a little bit more and gotten it straightened out with the tractor. It was just an adjustment up front, so nothing big there. But anyways, thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you appreciated the video. Got a little something out of it. One thing that I'm pretty sure of is if I remove the bottom stump jumping plate, I believe that's what it's called, it's that center plate underneath where the two blades attached. If I remove that, I'm pretty sure that there is a drain underneath there. I did get most of the gear oil out of the transmission because I was blowing in it and it was just pushing all of that mucky transmission oil out of there. So it should be good now. I'm going to be checking it here probably in about another 20 hours of use just to see what it looks like, and in a future video I'll show you that. Again, thanks for watching the video. We'll see you on the next one.